Good morning to the Lighthouse family. Hope everybody got a great night's sleep. Hope everybody's ready to worship God. This morning is going to be drastically different than most Sunday mornings. I'm not going to sing for you. I'm just going to bring you the Sunday word this morning, give you a word of encouragement, hopefully this morning, and a word to get us through this troubled time that we're facing right now today. September the 11th, in the year 2000, terror struck our world, and it literally shook our country from one end all the way to the other. Every life, every community, every county, every state, because we realized that day that we weren't in control. God got our attention that day in a way that we had never ever experienced in our lives. And on that day and the days following, our entire world turned their focus towards God and was looking to God. 2 weeks ago, 20 years later, our world literally changed overnight. It kind of just blows my mind how just out of nowhere this pandemic comes upon us. Schools are closing. And just think about it. The NBA shuts down their season. March Madness, which makes billions of dollars over the month of March, shuts down completely. NASCAR, the PGA, golf tour, everything shuts down. Major League Baseball saying that they're going to delay the start of the season and don't know when they're going to start. And my goodness, Disney World even closed. Who would have ever thought that? And now we're hearing words like we need to keep ourselves distance, no gathering together in crowds. We need to have a lot of isolation, and businesses are closing, restaurants, takeout only. And what we're seeing in our world right now is things that we've never seen before. And literally, our world changed overnight. I was hearing today that one man went to church and not knowing he was carrying this disease. And the next thing you know, 41 people in that church got sick. And one of them tragically has passed away. It just goes to show us just how powerful this enemy, this pandemic that we're facing. It brings disease, but it also brings a disruption. Think about it. Our stock market has plunged. It literally has the attention of every nation all around the world. You think about people being laid off of their jobs, and it's affecting families because their loved ones have gotten sick, and potentially it not only brings a disruption, it can also bring about death. So it's a big problem that we're facing, and literally it can take over our lives, and it can put us in fear, and it can put us in bondage because it's a legitimate concern. I mean, think about it. It's an invisible enemy that we can't see, and it can get on us, and we don't even know it's getting on us. And so it's a big problem. It's a big concern. Not only are we worried about our lives, we're worried about our parents and grandparents and our loved ones and our children. But it's a legitimate concern that we need to make sure doesn't bring about an illegitimate worry. I was talking with Jesse the other night on what we could relate this to in the Bible. And I remember in Ruth chapter number 1, it talks about in the time that the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land. And because there was a famine in the land, Elimelech moved his family to another country. He made a decision that was a wrong decision because he made that decision in fear. He was faced with a legitimate concern. Think about it. I got to feed my family. And it's kind of like what we're facing today. It's a legitimate concern that brings a legitimate, healthy fear of that we've got to be careful and we got to watch out, but we just have to make sure that we don't let it take over our lives. The book of Hebrews says in chapter number 12, see to it that no one refuses him who is speaking, and that is God. And I believe right now, God is speaking to us just like he did in the Bible. He's speaking to our country again. He's speaking to our individual lives and our families. And we need to look, and we need to listen, and we need to learn, and we need to trust through this whole process. I believe he's sounding a wake-up call, sounding the alarm clock, and he's wanting us to turn our complete focus towards him. Just think about this dramatic change that this pandemic has brought into our lives. It's changed our calendar. I mean, whatever you had written on your calendar, I guarantee you it's been shook upside down and inside out. It has changed our lives, what we've been doing as our daily routine. It's changed our agendas. It's changed our country. It's changed our church. I mean, we can't meet together. We can't hug each other and love on each other. We have to do it through the means that we're actually doing right now. But think about it. In the midst of this dramatic change, just think about even America. America is shining at the present moment because God has forced our country, and he's forced us as individuals, no matter what color you are, no matter what your culture is, no matter what your political agenda is, he has forced us all to come together. This is an enemy that we can't fight on our own. We can't fight, oh, I believe this or that. No, we got to come together. And right now, our country is coming together and shining in a big way. They're talking about prayer and having a prayer day, and even President Trump saying, really, ultimately, we need God's protection, and we need to be praying at this time because we're fighting an invisible enemy that we cannot see. But we need to remember that God has allowed this invisible enemy to come upon us at this time. Nothing comes into our lives that's not filtered through the hands of God. So what we're experiencing right now in our country is God has allowed us to encounter this for whatever reason. And it could be different. It could be, I believe, one big reason is to bring us back to him because we've wandered away from him. But I believe the ultimate reason is so that we can see the visible great God of the universe. We're fighting this invisible enemy, and the only way we can fight it is really through the help of our great God. And by forcing us to look to him, we take an enemy that we can't see and bring it to someone who can take care of what we can't see. And then we're able to see him in a visible way. We're able to see the great and awesome God of the universe who is calling us back to him. You think about this pandemic that we're facing, the dramatic change that we see everywhere. We worry about things. We worry about how we're going to pay our mortgage and how we're going to be able to put food on the table. And my goodness, are we going to have enough toilet paper? We worry about all of these things, and they're right there in front of us. But we need to realize this. Our lives are going to change. Our money is going to change over different periods in our life. The economy that we see is going to change. Our health is going to change. Our circumstances are going to change. People are going to change. But there's one thing we can count on, and that's God. God never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And he says, I change not. So he is the solid rock. He is the one that we can trust in. He's the one that we can count on. He's our rock. He's our anchor of hope. the one that we need to put our trust and our faith in during these troubled times. You know, when there's a cloudy day and the atmosphere is chaotic and there is a threat for severe weather, we turn our attention to the weatherman because he can see things on those maps and radars, and he can give us some insight on what we can expect and what's coming at us at a particular time, even by the second and by the minute with the technology that they have today. And when life changes and life is spinning out of control like it is at this present moment in every direction, I mean, there's not a direction of our country and our lives that's not spinning right now. It might not be out of control, but it is spinning. And what we have to do, just like we look to the weatherman to give us insight, we have to look to the Creator God. We have to look to the one who can just speak and this could be over. He could speak and bring healing. He's Jehovah Jireh. He's our great provider. He is Elohim. He is the Creator God. He's Jehovah Rapha. He is the one who heals. He's Jehovah Shammah. He is the one who is near. He's Jehovah Roha. He's our shepherd, and he is there to guide us during these troubled times. And right now, we wonder what's coming around the corner. We don't know. We don't know what next week is going to look like, what next month is going to look like. But I'm convinced of this. I'm convinced that all of what we're facing at this present moment, God is going to turn it around for our good. We're going to see good in our lives, and we're going to see good in God, not only in our lives, but we're going to see it in our country. And I believe this is going to bring dramatic change to us, and it's going to bring God's divine favor to us. And I believe it has the potential to be able to bring a great revival like we've never seen. As I stated last night, we're at a crisis moment even in our church. You know, we can't meet together, and, you know, there's things that at the beginning of the year we begin to lay out. And one of the things is that how close we were to not being a church anymore. And we just had to get people to realize that and let that sink in, because a lot of times we just don't see the truth because we're just not confronted with it head on. And we're facing a crisis moment in our church, and God got our attention back in January, and we're facing a crisis moment right now. Even again, we felt like we were getting on the right track, and now here we are faced with something that we didn't even see coming. But I believe with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength that God is not only going to bring us through it, he's going to make us stronger because of it. He's going to provide supernaturally. I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know who he's going to use or what he's going to do, but I know this, he's going to do it. And if he done it before, he can do it again. And if he does it for our church, he can do it for you. And if he does it for you and our church, he can do it for our world and our country. And we just need to look to him, and we just need to trust in him. And I believe with all my heart, God is going to do some great and some awesome things. I want to just have a quick word of prayer with you, and then we'll sound off for the morning. God, we thank you for this day that you've given us, this beautiful morning that you have allowed us to be a part of. And God, I pray your blessings upon each and every one that is listening to these words. I pray you'll seal them upon our hearts, and I'll pray that we'll walk in your truth, God, and that we'll know you and experience you like never before. And we'll give you the praise, honor, and glory for it. Lighthouse family, I hope you have a wonderful day. And you need to remember this. If you don't remember anything else, remember that God is good all the time. I love you, and have a great day.